Module 4, Lesson 11, Factoring Expressions. Learning targets. I can model and write equivalent expressions using the distributive property, and I can move from expanded form to factored form of an expression. Alright, we're going to be using the model that is on the screen to answer some questions. So our first question is, how many 5s are in the model? There are 2 5s in our model. And how many 3s are in our model? And there are also 2 3s in our model. So what does this expression represent in words? So in words, this model represents the expression the sum of 2 groups of 5 and 2 groups of 3. So how can we write that expression with numbers and symbols? With using numbers and symbols, our expression will read 2 times 5 plus 2 times 3. Alright, for this next example, we are going to be using the new model that is on your screen. So number 1 question, how many 5s are in this model? There are 2 5s in this model. And question number 2, how many 3s are in this model? And once again, there are 2 3s in this model. So what does this expression represent in words? So in words, our expression reads 2 groups of the sum of 5 and 3. So now how can we write this using numbers and symbols? So if numbers and symbols, our equation is going to read 5 plus 3 in parentheses plus 5 plus 3 in parentheses. And remember, we're putting the 5 plus 3 and the second 5 plus 3 in parentheses because it is the sum of 5 and 3. So we have to do 5 plus 3 first in order to get the correct answer. But this can also be written a different way, and I'm going to show you. It can also be written as 2 parentheses 5 plus 3 parentheses, which just means that this is 2 times 5 plus 3 in parentheses. Remember, there are 2 groups of 5 plus 3, so we can multiply 5 plus 3 by 2, and that is going to give us the same answer. So new question, is the model we used in our first example and the model we used in the second example, are they equivalent to each other? Yes, our 2 examples are equivalent to each other because both of those expressions have 2 5s and 2 3s. So therefore, 2 times 5 plus 2 times 3 is equal to 2 parentheses 5 plus 3 parentheses. They are the exact same. They are equivalent. No matter which one you use, you're going to get the exact same answer. So now I want you to think back to 5th grade math, and you did some problems using the same reasoning to solve those problems. And do you remember what the name of that property that you used was to say that 2 parentheses 5 plus 3 parentheses is the same as 2 times 5 plus 2 times 3? What is the name of that property that you used? Alright, so you don't remember, clearly. That's okay. I know you learned it, but that's okay. Anyways, the answer is the distributive property. So this lesson, we are focusing on using the distributive property. And that just is saying that 2 parentheses 5 plus 3 is equal to 2 times 5 plus 2 times 3. So the distributive property is saying that when you write expressions either this way or this way, they are the same and you will get the same answer. Alright, so now that we've done some examples, we've talked about what the distributive property is, let's do some more practice. So we're going to be using the new model on the screen to answer some questions. First question, what does the model represent in words? Alright, so when we write this in words, we're going to get 3 ways we can write it. And does it matter which way you use? It does not, because all 3 are exactly the same. So the first one, A plus B plus B. Second one, 2 A's plus 2 B's. And the third one, 2 times A plus 2 times B. All 3 of those are the same. They're all going to get you the exact same answer. Next question, how many A's are in the model? There are 2 A's in the model. So how many B's are in the model? There are also 2 B's in the model. But hold on. Let's back this train up a little bit, because if we look at our model, we see we have something written as 2A and 2B. But what does that mean? Well, this means that there are 2 A's, which could also just simply mean 2 times A and 2 times B. Remember, in a previous lesson, we got rid of the multiplication symbol because we simplified the expression. So when there is a number followed by a variable, that just means we are multiplying. So 2A is equal to 2 times A, and 2B is equal to 2 times B. All right, now that we've gone over that again, we can move on to our next question. And our next question is, what expression could be written to represent this model? So the expression that we could use to represent this model is 2A plus 2B, or 2 parentheses A plus B parentheses. Alright, so now we're going to be using GCF, which stands for greatest common factor, and the distributive property to write equivalent expressions. So our first one is 3F plus 3G, and we want to use the distributive property to write a new expression. So the first thing we have to do is find the greatest common factor, and obviously, since both of these have the 3 in them, our GCF is going to be 3. So we're going to take 3 out. We're going to put it here. Then we're going to put a parentheses. So now all that's left is F plus G. And that's going to go inside our parentheses. And then we're going to close our parentheses. So this one is expanded form. And this one is what we called factored form. And when you are using factored form, that's when the distributive property comes into play. Let's do another one. We have 6x plus 9y. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the greatest common factor of 6 and 9. So we're going to have 6 and we're going to have 9. And we're going to find all the factors of 6 and 9. So we're going to have 1 and 6, 2 and 3. And then for 9, we're going to have 1 and 9. And then just 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. So we're only going to put 3 ones. And so we can see that our greatest common factor is 3. So we're going to take 3 and we're going to put on the outside, and then we're going to put our parentheses. However, since we've taken 3 out, we have to divide each of these numbers by 3. So it's going to be like 6 divided by 3 and 9 divided by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we're going to have 2x plus 3y. And this works because if you use the distributive property, that means that you're going to go back and you're going to take our GCF right here and we're going to multiply it by each of these numbers. And if we do that, we're going to get 3 times 2x, which is 6x, plus 3 times 3y, which is 9y, and that's what we started with. All right, next one. We have 3c plus 11c. So we're going to start by finding the greatest common factor. So we're going to have 3, we're going to have 11. So 3 is 1 and 3, 11 is 1 and 11. Oh no, they have no number in common. What are we going to do? Are we just going to curl up into a ball and cry? Nah, we're not going to do that. We're better than that. If we look, we see that both of these have a C. So our greatest common factor is actually not a number, it's a letter, and it's a variable, and it's going to be C. So C is going to go on the outside, and inside our parentheses, we will simply have 3 plus 11. All right, and our next example is 24b plus 8. So let's start by finding the greatest common factor. So we have 8, we have 24. Factors of 8 are 1 and 8, 2 and 4. 24, we have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. And it looks like 8 is going to be our greatest common factor. So 8 is going to go on the outside, and then we can fill in our parentheses. And in our parentheses, remember, we have to divide the 24 by 8. So 24 divided by 8 is going to give us 3. So inside our parentheses, we will have 3b plus. And yes, you still have to have the plus sign with some number, because we have to get back to this original 8 when we go back and we multiply, because we know that 8 times 3 is 24, but 8 times what would give us 8 again, because we have to get to 8, and that's 1. So we're going to put 1 here. So our factored form is going to be 8 parentheses 3b plus 1 parentheses. So if you're taking out a number completely for your factored form, remember to replace it by 1 inside the parentheses, because when we go back and we multiply this out again, this form right here needs to go back to what it looked like up here. And if those don't match, then you've done something wrong. All right, let's do some more examples, and this is going to be the lightning round. I'm going to put a bunch of them on the screen. I'm going to give you some time. You may also pause the video and figure them out, and then I'm going to show you all the answers. Cool? Cool. All right, so you're going to have 7x plus 7y, 15g plus 20h, 18m plus 42n, 30a plus 39b, 11f plus 15f, and 18h plus 13h. All right, so we're going to take the expanded form, and I want you to figure out the factored form. So I'm going to give you some time. You can pause the video if the time I give you is not enough time. But I want you to get all of these answers before I show you the answers. Alright, so I'm going to show you the answers now, and if that was not enough time, because it probably wasn't, but I didn't want this video to keep playing for like 5 minutes with nothing happening, you can pause the video. So if you're not done, pause the video now. Okay, I think you paused it. I'm going to give you the answers now. Last chance to pause the video. Okay. Alright, here are your answers. So 7 parentheses x plus y, 5 parentheses 3g plus 4h, 6 parentheses 3m plus 7n, 3 parentheses 10a plus 13b, f parentheses 11 plus 15, h parentheses 18 plus 13. Did you get them right? Oh, you got them all right. Oh, you're so smart. You're so smart. So now let's move on to, we're going to evaluate some expressions. All right, so we're going to be evaluating these two expressions. So 6x plus 21y and 3 parentheses 2x plus 7y, where x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 4. So we're going to start with the 6x plus 21y, and we're going to plug in our numbers. So our 6x is going to turn into 6 times 3 plus 21 times 4. So then this becomes 18 plus 84, which gives us 102. Now let's solve the other expression. So we're going to have 2 times 3 plus 7 times 4. So 3 and then 6 plus 28. 3 times 34, which gives you 102. And looky there. These two answers, they match. So these expressions are equivalent. One takes 3 steps, the other takes 4 steps, but either way, you're going to get the exact same answer. So these expressions are equivalent. Let's practice with another one. All right, so now we have 5g plus 7g and g parentheses 5 plus 7, where g equals 6. So let's start with the first one. So we're going to have 5 times 6 plus 7 times 6, which turns into 30 plus 42, which gives us an answer of 72. Next one, 6 parentheses 5 plus 7, which gives us 6 times 12, which gives us 72. And looky there, these match. So these two expressions are also equivalent and will give you the exact same answer. And let's do one more. So we have 14x plus 2 and then 2 parentheses 7x plus 1, where x equals 10. So our first one is going to become 14 times 10 plus 2. So 140 plus 2 for an answer of 142. Our second one, we're going to have 2 parentheses 7 times 10 plus 1, which becomes 2 parentheses 70 plus 1. Then 2 times 71, which gives us an answer of 142. And once again, these answers match. So these expressions are equivalent. All right, our lesson summary for today: an expression in factored form is an expression that is a product of 2 or more expressions is said to be in factored form. Now go complete the problem set.